Hey everybody, this is Dave Dugdale, learningdslrvideo.com. My friend James Drake invited me to shoot yesterday where he was using his Red Epic, but they were also using the MōVI stabilizer. So I thought it'd be cool to go down and really see it in action on a real live shoot, and then ask like the most commonly asked questions I could think of. So just like yourself, I'm one of these people that definitely can't afford the MōVI stabilizer. It's just way too expensive. But what I thought I'd do with these questions is keep them as generic as possible. Not so much to the MōVI, but as these other cheaper units come out, probably around NAB in April, more of them become more popular, you could definitely come back to this video as more of a reference. So the shoot took place in a recording studio, an audio recording studio down in Denver. It was directed by Wade Yamaguchi, which I didn't get to talk to too much because he was way too busy. He was running around all over the place. But the two guys I did get to talk to that operated the MōVI were Seth Schaeffer of Hotocopter Films and Cory Reynolds of Contrast. Those are the two guys that were pretty much responsible for the MōVI. So those guys were nice enough to let me share their footage with you guys here. That was what you're looking at right now. And you know, I am definitely no Devin Graham, Devin Supertramp in terms of using these type of devices with a gimbal on it. This is actually the Blackbird, which is kind of similar to the Glide Cam in a way. It's a little bit different, but these type of devices are really difficult. If you're Devin Graham, Devin Supertramp, which is, that guy is a freak of nature when it comes to using these type of things. I don't know how he gets these shots so smooth with these devices. I mean, he could be sprinting and he gets silky smooth motion. And he doesn't even he says he doesn't use warp stabilizer or anything, which is just amazing. So this type of device, this MōVI type of stabilizer, is very interesting to me because I would be able to pick up one of these devices and get really good steady motion. Now I will tell you, we're looking back at the footage watching these guys use it, and we've been using it for maybe 2 or 3 months, and I'm sure from a year from now they'll get even better at it, but you can definitely see the step motion of when they're carrying the camera. You'll see that kind of motion, but you won't get this kind of motion that I get with this all the time. So it's really smooth, and it's also very expensive. Now these two guys had this unit like kitted out with a whole bunch of stuff on it. I mean, there was, you know, being able to broadcast out to 2 different displays wirelessly. They had a wireless remote follow focus. So they had a whole bunch of stuff on it. But it was, I found really interesting is the MōVI, you still have to use a screwdriver in like not just 1 screw, but 4 screws to just move something just a little bit this way or that way. Whereas like a device like this has these really nice fine-tuned adjustments that you can do quite quickly and quite easily. One for forward and aft and left and right kind of stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So the first question I asked him is, how do you light your talent while your talent is moving through a scene while you're, you know, moving with the MōVI device?
Having someone follow right next to the MōVI with a bounce card, like if you have a lot of nice backlight, have a bounce card, you know, in front to fill back on the face. And it all just depends on what the director DP are looking for stylistically. Some of them want the silhouette, some of them, you know, want it to be flat or dramatic. And so it really just kind of varies for sure, scene to scene.
Then I asked him, how long does it take to rebalance it? Like when the director says, well, can we go from a 24 to a 35 mil lens? How long does it take to rebalance it? And then how long does it take to, you know, balance it once you get on the set?
Rebalancing with a new lens isn't that difficult because it's the same as taking the MōVI off and putting it back on, because it's only forward and back as far as your balance goes. But the initial setup process, especially when we have a lot of contraptions put on there, can take, I mean, how long would you say? An hour?
Yeah, depending on the setup and how much other accessories you're putting on.
Next up, I asked him what equipment they were using on this rig, and he'll describe all of this stuff for you.
So on this rig that we've got set up today, we've got the C300. So the C300's on there, as well as the Paralinx HD wireless that connects via HDMI, and then powering that HDMI wireless. And then we also have the Red Rock Micro motor, it's a mouthful, and the power to do that. And we're powering that via a LiPo battery, same as we're powering the MōVI. to a LEMO connection that connects in, and that's a cable that you can get from FreeFly. They sell that. And then the Paralinx sends video to 2 places, one of those being the director's monitor, the second place being this field monitor where we use to pull focus. And so as I turn that here, you can see that's adjusting focus on the camera wirelessly, and we can see that representation here. And here's our Red Rock micro controller, the micro remote controller, and then powering all of that stuff. So with the C300 not having the power options that we would have like on a Red, we've got to use batteries, like USB batteries, the MōVI batteries, and like I said, the LiPo battery to power the follow focus base station and the motor.
Then I asked him, what is this device for? I mean, is it suited for documentaries? Is it mostly for narrative work? I mean, where do you see this MōVI being used a lot?
Good for discovery shots. I think you're able to go out there and get, I mean, if you are trying to do a documentary, it is going to be for the high level, like kind of a feel, like if you're walking through a crowd in a scene that you want in your documentary, I think you could still do it well and it not be complicated. I mean, I think it, in majestic mode in particular, it's really easy to go around and get good looking smooth shots and not have to have all of this setup necessarily, but it also does extend itself to the narrative. Well-planned shots. This is specifically what we want to do so that the operator that's holding it, the operator that's running the remote, and the first AC can pull focus the way that they need to. So I think it's a pretty versatile tool that you're able to do anything you're looking for.
Also, I wanted to know what type of action sports it's also good for.
In the sports industry, snowboarding, skiing, skateboarding, I think that's a huge market for this product, as well as finding creative ways to rig it, where you can swing it from a rope, or our friend Jesse Plackey with Condor Cams putting it on a cable cam and using that to really smooth out his shots, and had tremendous success.
So with all this stuff kitted out on top of it, it gets rather heavy. And with a glide cam device, you're using just one hand and you've got all the weight on one arm, which after a few minutes your arm begins to shake. But with this device, you've got the weight distributed with 2 hands. So I wanted to know, how long could they go? What was like their longest take they could do before, their arms started shaking?
Yeah, I would say that you'll be, especially with a heavier camera, you would be pretty tired after 3 to 5 minutes. We walked down Hollywood Boulevard and we just filmed B-roll just for fun a couple weeks ago, and that was an hour of walking around with it. So you're kind of using it, and then you're putting it down, walking, and then you're using it and kind of letting it rest. But it's great to have an assistant, somebody that's there when director reels cut, somebody to take it and let you kind of relax your arms, especially on an all-day shoot where you're kind of doing the same motions over and over again. It gets pretty exhausting.
So that's pretty much it. Some just generic, commonly asked questions I think you guys would have with this type of device. I think it's really interesting. The people that really need it the most are like myself, the kind of advanced amateurs, or people that are not very good at glide cam, just don't have that kind of practice that Devin Graham has been doing over the years. But it doesn't come with an amateur type of price, unfortunately, and we're the guys that need it the most. So I'm looking really forward to NEB 2014. I'm sure we're going to see a whole slew of new ones that are hopefully even shipping, that are in kind of that sub $2,000 range, maybe $1,500. I could definitely see it not going too much below $1,500. That would be my guess. A glide cam or any of those type of devices are like $500, so I could definitely see it being 3, maybe 4 times as more expensive, because it has a lot more equipment on it and batteries and all this other stuff. So let's see what happens at NEB. I'm sure a lot of great things will be announced, and there might be even more innovation just besides the 2-handle type approach, because I've seen some other ones that are really cool, like just for a GoPro, where you can mount it on one type of gimbal and it has the 3 axes and you can steer it around like this, which I think is just awesome. So that's pretty much it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.